I'm installing some Ohlins Coilovers on my ND3 Miata. And when I was doing some research, I didn't see many videos on the install process or reviews. So I'm going to give you guys both of those today. For the install process, I'm going to skip a lot of stuff because there's videos out online about doing coilovers on the ND Miata. It's very similar. I'm going to call out the gotchas with the Ohlins. Just a quick recap for you guys if you're watching other videos on how to install these. Pretty simple. Remove the brace. These are the 3 bolts on top that you'll remove eventually. But on the bottom, take these bolts all the way out because this whole arm's got to come out this way. You're going to loosen ABS sensor here. You don't have to take it all the way out from down here. It has plenty of slack. For the brake line, loosen it from here and then a bolt on the bottom of the shock. Also remove the sway bar end links on both sides. If you're doing this on jack stands, make sure you have both sides of the vehicle jacked up because there would be tension on the sway bar and the end links if you have just one side of the vehicle jacked up. First gotcha is around the parts. So you get instructions for the rear and the front, and they call out the part numbers here. So the shocks have little part numbers at the bottom that you have to match up. See that MAS 5P00, and the spring has a part number here. See that 19 there? So when you look at the rear shocks are actually shorter, or actually longer. The front shocks are shorter, and the springs look like about the same. The bump stops on the rear look just a tad longer. These don't have a part number on them, but you have to be careful with matching up the parts. So look at the part numbers on the shocks and on the springs and make sure you match those up and follow the instructions here when you're assembling. So inside of here, they give you instructions on the order of assembly. Now these aren't the best. Use these in conjunction with what Goodwin Racing has on their listing for these coilovers. They have some colored images on there. What's difficult to tell in both these and the Goodwin Racing is the orientation of these 2 metal pieces here. So this is how it goes. You can, in the Goodwin Racing website, this almost looks upside down the way they have it positioned, but in the instructions, this is the way it goes. So you have the tapered end going down and the small lip is inside the spring. Next gotcha with the install, it's around these rings here. So when you're loosening this one's very tough to get loose. Spray some WD-40 or Krill oil or something to break this loose, and first tighten this and then try to break this loose. You might think it's threaded in the opposite direction. It is not. It turns this way to go up, and then you adjust this whole bottom sleeve to adjust the spacing here. They give you starting points here, so the spring preload, they want this to be 190 millimeters from here to here, the bottom of the spring to the top of the spring, and 65 millimeters for the distance between the top of this ring and the bottom of this ring. So make sure you have dial calipers. I have a special one that's a little bit bigger. Let's see where I put it. So this one I use for the top because it goes extra long like that. A traditional dial caliper might not work out for you. So one like this was able to do this 65, it goes up to 150 millimeters, but I needed a special one for the 190 millimeters. So make sure you have a dial caliper that works for that. I'll link one in the description from Amazon that will work. Probably the most important gotcha on this is when installing the top hat and getting this lock nut torqued down. So the caps on here, I'll actually use the stock shock here to show you what these look like. If you've done coilovers, you know what these look like. But there's an Allen key in the middle, and you need a pass-through wrench to hold the shaft of the shock in place with an Allen key, and then use a wrench, pass-through wrench, to take the nut off. So on the new shocks, they have this adjustment knob, and you have to take this off initially. There's a spot to put a wrench, but you twist this off. The whole assembly here comes off with it. And inside is an Allen key like a sub Allen key. I don't want to take this off again. You know what? Let me show you on the rears. The rears are totally different, but probably the same concept. So imagine this is off. There's a bigger Allen key where you would hold the shaft, but there's a sub Allen key, like a sub bolt. And that's actually what this knob turns to adjust the shock. Now, I played around with this, and that sub Allen key was pretty high. So when I put the Allen key into the top of the shaft of the shock, it didn't have great grip on the threads or on the Allen there, and it started to strip it. So make sure the adjustment bolt is all the way down. You can even take an Allen key, take this off, take an Allen key and screw it all the way down. So it's out of your way when you put the bigger Allen key into here to hold it down. Now it's actually important to torque this nut because there are rubber spacers, I guess you'd call them, bushings here and below the hat inside the metal thing, and these will smush quite a bit. You have to torque this down to 30 Newton meters. It says that in the instructions here, so follow these over here, say 30 Newton meters. The rears might be different, but the fronts are 30 Newton meters, and you have to torque that down. If you have a traditional pass-through wrench, you won't be able to torque that down. Yeah, you can put a torque wrench on the Allen key, but to be honest, I don't know if that's actually accurate at the end of the day. So what I would recommend to get for the top is actually a crowfoot. You need a 14 millimeter one, and when this is on a torque wrench, it has to be 90 degrees to the torque wrench. So if I have my torque wrench right here, for it to be an accurate torque reading, it has to sit at about 90 degrees like this. So when you have this on there, you can get the Allen key through and a torque wrench on and actually torque that down. All right, next gotcha is around the shock tower brace. And if you're looking at the description for these Ohlins on Goodwin Racing's website, you'll see that they can contact with these. Now, I'm still installing these shocks to see if they contact with this, but it's a real possibility that this isn't gonna work like this, that they're gonna contact like that. So you can drill a hole through this. I'll let you guys know if it actually does contact, but you can drill a hole through this or get a new brace. I ended up just ordering a new brace because this is pretty thick metal. I don't feel like spending the time to drill through it. It's about a week later, and I ended up getting the aftermarket brace from Goodwin Racing. While the stock brace didn't seem to contact these adjustment screws, it was just too close for comfort. And as I was driving around on the coilovers, I wanted to play around with the adjustment screws, see if I could dial it into my liking. And I didn't like how difficult they were to reach with the stock brace. So if you're going to install these coilovers, I would recommend getting the aftermarket brace. For the install in the rear, there's not too many gotchas. The only thing I would call out is you have to take out the trunk lining back here, and there's a big metal panel back there you have to take out as well. And the bolts are pretty hard to get to, but it's not impossible at the end of the day. So you have to take off a bunch of clips here, get as much of this out as you can, take off a big metal panel back there, and then you can get access to the bolts on the top of the shock. They also don't call out where to put these adjustment screws. These have big cables going to the shock. I just have them hanging over the liner here, and it seems to be working out. I've driven with this for a week. I don't hear these rattling around, and it gives you easy adjustment too. All right, so it's been a week or two since I installed the shocks, and I've been able to drive on them, commute on the highway, drive around town, and get a good impression of these things. I'm not gonna be doing a POV driving video, so it won't really tell you what I think of the shocks. This is more of like a 2-week review. So initial thoughts when I put these on, I was not impressed with the Ohlins. With the settings that they give you in the instructions, it gets you pretty close to the ride height that Goodwin Racing recommends. I believe it's 13.25 in the front, 13.5 in the rear. That's from the center of the hub to the fender. Now, with that ride height, I started with the settings at 10 on the rear, 10 on the front for the adjustment screws. That's like the midway point. That's what they say for street in the Ohlins instructions. And on that setting, with that ride height, it felt a little bit too stiff. I was expecting a little bit more because everyone says Ohlins is great street comfort. So what I did is I raised the ride height on both the front and rear a little bit. So the rears are about 14, and the fronts are about 13.75 or 13.5. I try to maintain a little bit of the rake. Have to measure them again to get the exact, but I went up a little bit on the ride height, and then I adjusted the settings to 12 on both the front and rear. And I'm pretty happy with the settings now. I would say it's about the stock ride like comfortability and characteristics when it hits certain bumps. It does feel a little bit more settled when it hits those bumps. The one thing that I was looking for out of these coilovers that I didn't like about the stock suspension was that on the highway, when the pavement kind of modulates, where it's just kind of, it doesn't look like big bumps, but it's kind of like rolling bumps, the car just would feel unsettled. It felt like a pogo stick as you're just driving down the highway. I actually sent a video to a buddy. Let's see if I pull it up here, if I still have it. But you're just like bouncing along on what seems like smooth pavement. And unfortunately, the Ohlins didn't really fix that. Maybe a little bit, the car overall feels better on the highway, more settled. I haven't done an alignment yet, but it's not too far of a drop from stock. So the biggest problem I didn't like about the stock suspension wasn't fixed, but you know, the problem everyone else cares about is the body roll, right, on these. And it did fix the body roll. The car feels so much better in the corner. You don't have to like wait for it to load up as it's like leaning all the way over. So it feels a lot better in the corners. I think that these will really pay off as you're pushing the car very hard. So when I do some track days, maybe my opinion will get a little bit better with these. I want to be clear that I'm not disappointed with the Ohlins, that they're good, they're high quality shocks. You could tell while you're installing them, they're high quality. Maybe my expectations were just too high. I expected a little bit more magic. And I might see more of that magic on the track as I'm pushing the car really hard. And of course, with alignment, that's going to make a big difference as well. So overall, ride quality, can you obtain stock ride quality? I think yes, you can get very, very close to stock ride quality. Is the performance there? Yes, I think the performance is there. Less body roll, more control, so gives you what you want. Is the car going to feel like it's on rails right away? Maybe not. You know, it's always a sacrifice with, you know, how stiff you want it versus if it's going to feel like it's on rails, not going to lean over as much. These do a pretty good job with not leaning over, taking big bumps. These feel like a good balance coilover. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm trying to make sense of it for you guys so you can get an idea of what the opinion is, because it's not just a clear black and white answer with these. So I think the moral of the story with these is yes, they're a great shock. You're going to get good comfortability. I think if you're looking at Ohlins, that's something you have in mind. You're going to get good performance. You want that if you're spending almost $3,000 on some coilovers. And it's going to be a good all-around coilover. And I think if you start to do some track days or really aggressive driving, that's when these will show, and having to show their good qualities. And by having the adjustment knobs, you'll be able to stiffen these up a little bit. You know, at 12, it's still pretty soft. I can dial it in a little bit more. And I'm sure as I do that, I'll be able to eliminate even more body roll and have even more control. One quick note is I did try all the way comfortable on the adjustment settings. So I tried 20 out on both the front and rear, and the car did not feel great. This was when I had the lower ride height too, and it felt crashy. I think I was hitting the bump stops with the soft dampening setting and the lower ride height. And then on the corners, it did not feel controlled. It wasn't a good setup all the way on max comfort. I wanted max comfort or the ability to do that for like daily driving. I thought, hey, maybe I'll be able to get some really good comfort out of it. You don't want setting 20. Maybe with the higher ride height that I have it on now, it'd be a little bit better. But I feel like 12-ish is a good balance. I might even go down to like 10 or 8, just fine tune it a little bit. But I just want to call that out if you're expecting to come in here and like, oh, I'll put it on max softness for the dampers. It's not gonna work out that great. Okay, that was a lot of rambling, but I hope this helps. Those tips on the install and my feedback on it. I hope it gives you a better idea of what you're in for if you're going to install this and what you'd get out of these coilovers. You might peek through here and see these Willwood big brakes here on the front and rear. This video is coming up next. I'm going to be doing a gotchas with that as well. Not a full install video, but some gotchas that I've noticed while installing those and my review on those as well. So if you're looking for more Miata content, I recommend subscribing. I'll be doing some videos here, some track days and different mods as I go. All right, thanks for watching.